When I had returned to the common, the sun was setting. Scattered groups were hurrying from the direction of Woking, and one or two persons were returning. The crowd about the pit had increased, and stood out black against the lemon yellow of the sky. A couple of hundred people, perhaps. There were raised voices, and some sort of struggle appeared to be going on about the pit. Strange imaginings passed through my mind. As I drew nearer, I could hear Stent's voice.
Keep back!
A boy came running towards me.
It's a moving, and it's screwing out, and I don't like it, oh Lord, I'm getting out of here, oh no!
I went on to the crowd. There were really, I should think, 200 or 300 people elbowing and jostling each other. The one or two ladies there being by no means the least active. The crowd swayed a little, and I elbowed my way through. Everyone seemed greatly excited. I heard a peculiar humming sound from the pit. I saw a young man, a shop assistant in Woking, I believe he was, standing on the cylinder and trying to scramble out of the hole again. The crowd had pushed him in. The end of the cylinder was being screwed out from within. Nearly 2 feet of the shining screw was projecting. Someone blundered against me, and I narrowly missed being pitched onto the top of the screw. I turned, and as I did, the screw must have come out, for the lid of the cylinder fell upon a gravel with a ringing concussion. I struck my elbow into the person behind me and turned my head towards the thing again. For a moment, that circular cavity seemed perfectly black. I had the sunset in my eyes. I think everyone was expecting to see a man emerge, possibly something a little unlike us terrestrial men, but in all essentials, a man. At least, I know I did. But looking presently, I saw something stirring within the shadow, grayish, billowy movements, one above another, and then 2 luminous discs, like eyes. Then something resembling a gray snake, about the thickness of a walking stick, coiled up out of the withering middle, and then another. A sudden chill came over me. There was a shriek from the woman standing behind me. I half turned, still keeping my eyes on the cylinder, and now there were other tentacles projecting from it. They began pushing their way from the edge of the pit. I saw astonishment giving place to horror on the faces of the people about me. I heard inarticulate exclamations from all sides. There was a general movement backwards. I saw the shopman struggling, still on the edge of the pit, and I found myself alone, and saw the people on the other side of the pit running off. Stent was among them. I looked again at the cylinder, and an ungovernable terror gripped me. I stood petrified and staring. A big, grayish, rounded bulk, the size perhaps of a bear, was rising slowly and painfully out of the cylinder. As it bulged up and caught the light, it glistened like wet leather. 2 large, dark-colored eyes were regarding me steadfastly. The mask that framed them, the head of that thing, was rounded and had, one might say, a face. There was a mouth under the eyes, the lipless brim of which quivered and panted and dropped saliva. The whole creature heaved and pulsated convulsively. A lank, tentacle-like appendage gripped the edge of the cylinder. Another swayed in the air. Those who have never seen a living Martian can scarcely imagine the strange horror of its appearance. The peculiar V-shaped mouth with its pointed upper lip, the absence of a brow ridge, the absence of a chin beneath the wedge-like lower lip, the incessant quivering of the mouth, the gorgon groups of tentacles, the tumultuous breathing of the lungs in a strange atmosphere, the evident heaviness and painful movement due to the greater gravitational energy of the Earth, and above all, the extraordinary intensity of the immense eyes, were at once vital, intense, inhuman, crippled, and monstrous. There was something fungoid in the oily brown skin, something in the clumsy deliberation of the tedious movements unspeakably nasty. Even at this first encounter, this glimpse, I was overcome with disgust and dread. Then suddenly, the monster vanished. It had toppled over the brim of the cylinder and fallen into the pit with a thud like the fall of a great mass of leather. Forthwith, another of these creatures appeared darkly in the deep shadow of the aperture. I turned, and running madly, made for the first group of trees, perhaps 100 yards away, but I ran slantingly and stumbling, for I could not avert my face from these things. There, among some young pine trees and furze bushes, I stopped, panting, and waited further developments. The common around the sand pits was dotted with people, standing like myself in a half-fascinated terror, staring at these creatures, or rather at the heaped gravel at the edge of the pit in which they lay. Then, with renewed horror, I saw a large black object bobbing up and down on the edge of the pit. It was the head of the shopman who had fallen in, but showing as a little black object against the hot western sunrise. Now he got his shoulder and knee up, and again he seemed to slip back until only his head was visible. Then suddenly he vanished, and I could have fancied I heard a faint shriek reach me. I had a momentary impulse to go back and help him, but my fears overruled me. Everything was invisible, hidden by the deep pit and the heap of sand that had fallen because of the cylinder. Anyone coming along the road from Cobham or Woking would have been amazed at the sight. A dwindling multitude, perhaps 100 people or more, standing in a great irregular circle, in ditches, behind bushes, behind gates and hedges, saying very little to one another and staring hard at the few heaps of sand. And in the sand pits, there stood the deserted vehicles with their horses feeding out of nose bags or pawing at the ground.